Welcome. Today we will be discussing how to convert between fractions, decimals, and percents. When we talk about converting between these values, they're pretty straightforward. Fractions, decimals, and percents have some very easy processes to convert between the three, and it's pretty common to do so. All of these values I have here are different representations of 25%. In fraction form, that would be 1/4. In decimal form, 0.25. And in percent form, obviously 25%. But let's talk about how we convert between each value. Say given 1/4, I want to convert it to a decimal, and I want to convert that decimal to a percent. Or vice versa. Say I'm given a decimal and I'll convert to a fraction or any of the other values. What I can do, let's start with the fraction. If I have 1/4 and I want to convert this fraction to a decimal or even to a percent, well, I have to recognize this is division happening here. This is 1 divided by 4. Where 1 is on the inside, 4 is on the outside. We're going to do some dividing here. 4 cannot go into 1, right? So that's 0 times. And then we're going to have to add a decimal here. I'm going to have to add a decimal up here and a 0 here. Now we say, okay, how many times can 4 go into 10? It can go in twice. That'll give me 8. I subtract, I get 2. Add another 0, bring that down, and I get 4 goes into 20 5 times exactly. And I get 0.25. And what do you know? That's what I have right here, 0.25. So we know that as a decimal, the fraction of 1/4 is 0.25. But let's suppose we want to convert that decimal to a percent. Well, that's also a very easy process. When we're converting decimals to a percent, all we have to do is move our decimal place 2 places to the right. 1, 2. So this 0.25 becomes 25. Or 25% now that we've moved the decimal. So 0.25 is 25%. Very easy. Again, all we have to do is move the decimal 2 places to the right. Now if I have a percent, say 25% here, and I want to convert this to a decimal, all I have to do is the opposite. My decimal is here on the right, I move it to the left 2 places, and I get 0.25. So converting between decimals and percents is very easy. All we have to do when we're converting from a decimal to a percent, so say we have 0.173, if I want to convert this to a percent, move it twice to the right. I get 17.3%. Or say I have 125.25%, and I want to convert this to a decimal. Again, start where the decimal is and just move 2 places to the left. I get 1.2525 as a decimal. Very straightforward. The only complex part is converting back into fractions. We can convert a percent easily back into a decimal, and we can easily convert a decimal into percent. But if we want to get either of those back into a fraction, what we need them to do is be in decimal form. So when I have a value already in decimal form, and I want to convert it back into a fraction, well, it's actually very easy. It can seem daunting, but it involves a lot of simplifying. So what we do whenever we want to convert a fraction is we put it over whatever number the place of the decimal value, last decimal value, is in. For example, this is the 10ths place, and the last value is in the 100ths place. I think there's a D in there too. Since it's in the 100ths place, that means we're going to be dividing 0.25 over 100. We're actually going to be writing it as 25 over 100. And then we're going to simplify. So we've removed the decimal and just put it over 100 because it is in the 100ths place. And then we simplify. What goes into both 25 and 100? Well, 25 does. 25 goes into itself 1 time, and it goes into 100 4 times. And we have our simplified fraction. We've converted the decimal into a fraction by putting it over 100. Say even I had 0.173, and I want to convert this to a fraction. Notice it's in the not tenths, hundredths, but thousandths place. That means it's going to be 173 over 1,000. And then I simplify if I possibly can. I don't know that I can simplify this fraction. There may be values that go into both 173 and 1,000, but we can just say 173 over 1,000 would also be a fraction form of 0.173. So we really just have to recognize what place our last decimal value is and then put it over 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, whatever decimal place it is in. And that is how we convert between fractions, decimals, and percents.